Island Tea Time. It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock, and we've got Lincoln David Pell in studio.
Full government name.
AZ.
Yes, and of
Candy.
course,
And
he's
the music.
also supposed to be joined by some inmates and
Yes.
Virgil
Welcome.
Hunch as well. So we are waiting them to come. But while we wait for them, we could have a little discussion. It's about rehabilitation. The purpose of sentencing. Is to some of it is to deter, some of it is to prevent, and some and retribution. And rehabilitation as well. So we have with us a former police officer, and we're supposed to have some inmates joining us momentarily, and we're talking about the rehabilitation process. We realize that there has been an uprising, violent crime and homicides. We realize that a lot of people are, rather than talking out problems, they want to more use objects and these kind of things, and threaten lives and livelihoods. So we're talking about rehabilitation, and for persons who might be sentenced, and trying to get them back into society,
Right.
and back on a path that's productive. So Lincoln.
Good morning to everyone. Peace be to all. I must then let persons know who I am. I used to be a police officer for a number of years, over 10 years that is.
Okay, over 10.
And I'm also a martial artist for over 40 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I believe in Jesus Christ from since birth. You put it that way.
So you,
So you don't want to tell us how much years that is, all right?
Right.
I
So
see you.
Well, so you knew
actually-
Jesus since birth.
Right. I usually tell my taekwondo students I'm 29 million years old. Just to break the ice. But however, what I must say is that all these areas that I mentioned that I'm a part of have their different way to make sure persons, one, as opposed to get involved in crime, is to stay out of it. I will use the biblical way, which is to love yourself, right? And if you love yourself, you could love others. So it's a love others as you love yourself. If you don't want to hurt yourself, of course you wouldn't want to hurt others. The martial arts way now is to respect even your enemies. Also, the best victory you could ever get is to not get into confrontation in the first place. So it takes something. And then also one of the philosophy of the martial arts that we use a lot with the taekwondo, it takes a weak person to get into a confrontation or a fight, but it takes a strong person not to. Because the natural ability is to respond. And if you could control that response, that's natural ability, you're a strong person. Then when you come from a policing point of view, it's talk to respect the laws. And even if you want to take it to the home, which my mother was a disciplinarian, follow instructions, obey, be respectful, be obedient. Just follow the rules. Those are some of the things not to get you in. Come back to the Bible now, because sometimes it's not so much that former convicts are not getting back into society. We as society should ask ourselves, are we really forgiving them to let them come back into society? Because sometimes that's the problem.
So you think the rehabilitation process should work both ways?
Yes, ma'am. Because, I know there are persons who would come out of prison. They've been trying. And because they have a criminal record, and if we are saying that the prison should rehabilitate them, but you're not giving them a chance to prove that they were rehabilitated, and then more than likely they might fall back into something that we do not want.
Tell us what are some of the procedures that you guys have in place in the prison to rehabilitate?
Well, because I was more into the law enforcement, but however, I could say the prison have different programs that, they have the drumming, they have the going out and, interact with communities, let them know why, especially youth, why they should not get involved in the crime. And they have mentoring programs as well, some persons do that. And you could see the genuine change inside. And they have even school program where I think some persons were able to gain some sexy subjects while they were in prison.
Right, I'm familiar with that one. Right.
And that's a good thing. So, sometimes we persons would say education prevents you from getting to committing crime. And if that is so, and you let them get these subjects in prison, then why prevent them from getting a job when they reach outside? However, I must then say with that, there are persons who have all kind of PhDs and they're masterminds in committing crime. So it's not necessarily education prevent you from committing crime. It boils down to the person
Is there any form of religious teaching in the prison?
I know, as far as I know, we are a Christian society. So most of it will be based on Jesus, the principles of Jesus Christ.
So it's actually done. So there's like a chapel, a church.
Because
how does it work?
because I know back in the day they used to have certain things like that, but I cannot speak for now. But when the prison officer comes, she will be able to speak to it. But I am one of the persons who believe when we have to look back and when you have to read of the Bible, it speaks to peace even in violent time, because even Jesus tells you if someone slap you on one cheek, turn the next. Some people might take it out of context and literally turn your cheek. But I
can
believe
already tilt my head watching you.
But I believe if someone come at you with violence, go to them with peace. Because at the end of the day, that's what Jesus speaks about.
It kind of
Peace.
disarms them too.
Peace, that's it. So therefore, I know of Christianity, I know of Jesus Christ, and I know he speaks of peace. It doesn't matter what. So for me, there are some persons who may have an issue with it. But bear in mind, some of these same persons grew up in the church. But you know what? That's why when Jesus was on earth, he speak about the Antichrist is now here. In his time, he spoke and said the Antichrist is there. Because you know what anti mean, right? Against. So there were people against Christ then. And that's what he was talking about. So therefore, persons who do not believe in Christ might think what I'm saying is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Is ignorant. And, but at the end of it all, persons who know of Jesus know it speaks of peace. And if you really want to have peace and rehabilitation, because the Bible speaks about how to actually rehabilitate persons when they commit crime, and also how to deal with them. It speaks about if they were, back in the day, there were safe havens before a person got to trial, and if the person want to pursue them, they could stay there for a while until certain things. I mean, the Bible is there, so that is why I believe in the Bible. But some persons do not believe because, unfortunately, some persons who preach the word might come across aggressive. They might come across violent and such like. And some persons want to use the Bible and say, back in the day, with Christopher Columbus. But they're saying that they were conquistadors, right? But if you really study that, you will realize the kings back then realized the influence the church, Christianity had on the people. So what they did, they used military people and present them as priests. And that is how a lot of the places were conquered in the name of, but they were not actually God-fearing people. So if you could go back and you study to Constantine the Great, all these things, we're not here to go into the church.
But in the
I'm just
Bible,
letting you know these
especially
things.
where David is concerned, he didn't move without consulting the priest, because the priest is who actually got the instructions from God. Because yes, God is all about love, but then there's also a time for war and conquering.
Yeah, because some persons believe that God is just a loving God, but God tell you I'm a God of justice. And with justice, it comes certain things. But since we are here with the rehabilitation of persons, what I will want to say as well, even the scriptures mention, forgive so that you can be forgiven. So if the prisoners went to the prison system and realized, hey, I did wrong, I now want to go on the path of right. But if society, the same society who would have requests from government to present these things, still not forgiving them, still not accepting them, you realize what happened? We have a problem still.
I'm glad you said that, because what would you say are some of the things that society need to change in order to show that they're willing to accept these persons?
That's what I'm saying indirectly.
No, but like for instance, what are some of the issues? So yes, the person comes out, and I guess the biggest one would be they're trying to get a job, but because they have a criminal record. Are there other instances other than that?
But you see, that's what the prison is all about. You will already pay your dues in prison. And that is why I say sometimes, I've been on different programs, and I like to say, we have a society that is an unforgiving society to someone else. But when it comes to them, they want to be forgiven. Or when it comes to their loved ones, they want to be their loved ones to be forgiven. But why you can't give my son a job? He went to prison, he paid his time. But when it comes to someone else, oh, no, he did. You understand what I'm coming from? And so therefore, it is not necessarily, so to speak, the persons who will have been rehabilitated problem. And society just believe this guy did this, or this young lady did this, and I don't believe at this time they should be back into a fold. And it goes through society, and I show some simple stuff. Simple stuff. Let's say, for example, that's why I use. Let me come to this first. When I was a police officer, I used to tell persons, you know what? The police officer could be your best friend or your worst enemy. Best friend meaning if you're a law-abiding citizen, I have no reason to come and talk to you. I have no reason to come and arrest you. Your worst enemy, you break the law, especially if it is an arrestable one. I am there to enforce that law. Now, there are some offenses that give the police wide discretion whether or not to arrest you or just give you a warning right on the spot. And I'm going to give you a story to let you know how people view the police in a wrong way. And sometimes the police might actually let people believe that, because the police duty is not really to just arrest persons. Okay? I used to tell persons, hey, I listen to what they says based on what it is. Okay, Christmas come for you early. Do not do it again. And I give them a reason why. Do you want to get a criminal record and then you cannot travel, you cannot get a job because I know these things? No, sir. I said, well, okay. I forgive you. Do not do it again. And based on if someone they just come and apologize to the person. So you accept the apology? Yes. Do you want anything out of it? No, I appreciate the apology. Thank you, officer. Okay, so go again and tell the gentleman thank you one more time and don't do it again. And sometimes that person never get involved in anything again. Years after, they will meet me, officer, thank you very much. You know, these are the things. And so sometimes is the view people have of police officers. And even in the home, sometimes people say, police. And I'm talking about, these are some parents, will be telling children bad things about police. But yet when something happens, they do not want the police to even get involved because they see the police in a bad light. But you know what? The police is the only organization that is super, if you want to put it, super employed, have the law on their side to enforce the laws of the land. That even the Prime Minister could tell a police officer not to enforce something because he'll be obstructing the justice.
Right.
Because the police is personally responsible for his or her action. And that is why they have a broad power of discretion. And so the other aspect of that is to persons to see the police in a good light, not just to arrest people, but also to counsel people, to talk with people, to let them know it is not good for you to get involved in criminal activity. And also is that the persons themselves who would have gotten themselves, into issues with the law and now would have rehabilitated and exiting the prison life, should also see the police officer in a good light as well. Now I'm going to give you a story to let you see how it works. When I was a police officer, I arrested a gentleman. I knew his family and I spoke with him and I told him, look, man, what you did was wrong. You make a number of persons dissatisfied with what you've done. You basically embarrass them, your parents, your friends, even me because I know you. And even yourself when you have to look at it. And I let him know everything. He started to cry. But I had my job to do. I went to court, he got arrested and everything, he sentenced. But one day, this was the time when they had some prison riots and everything. And I went into the prison. He called out to be good and asking how my family and everybody doing, and I asked him. So another prisoner asked him, you know this guy? He said, yes. Well, he's a family? No, a friend? No. What he is to you? This is the man who arrested me. Are you talking to him so good? He said, yes, because he let me know. It is my fault why I'm here. So you see, it's to let people know that the police is not just there to arrest you. If you didn't commit any offense, why the police going to come and harass you? And that is why I used to tell everyone who I come across, the police could be your best friend or your worst enemy. Therefore, abide by the law, because the law is not just for other person, but for police as well. The law is not just for police, but it's there even for the Prime Minister as well. And that is why I like to tell persons when I was in the police force, the Prime Minister cannot tell me to arrest no one because the Police Act said only the police and the ground, not even the Commissioner of Police. If you do not see what is happening, you cannot order someone to arrest somebody because you personally could be held responsible for your actions or inactions. And someone else who wants you to do or not to do could obstruct you. And therefore, I just want to get that out so persons to understand is that we have to look at things differently. So,
balance.
Yes.
Right.
Balance.
So for me, it's for society now to recognize that the persons would have been rehabilitated and they would have paid their time And if we want them to adjust comfortably back into society, then we have to recognize that they would have paid their time and now forgive them. Because some persons do not realize they would have done their time. And the reason why it is so hard and for former inmates to really come back into society is that society still haven't forgiven them.
And we are now joined
by
Miss Virgil Hodge. I don't think I've ever
And
seen you in this getup.
She's in her uniform.
Let me just take a minute to look
Yes.
at it. And 3 gentlemen. So introduce yourself to our listening
Yes,
audience.
please. We've been waiting.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Virgil Hodger, in capacity of rehabilitation officer
Yes.
at His Majesty's prison. I have with me 3 inmates, Mr. Louis Gardner, Keith Murray,
Which one is lowest?
I'm going in order, and Alfred Duport. There are 3 out of the 4 guys who would have graduated from AVEC last November.
Congrats.
December, sorry, yes. And that's the first time ever we would have had that accomplishment where prisoners graduated from AVEC. And I'll let them talk about their skills and what they did and how they came about even getting on that program. So we'll start with Keith. We'll start with Louis.
I remember the name.
Because I'm facing him, yes.
Hi, morning to all.
Good morning, welcome.
My name is Louis Gardner. I'm currently incarcerated at Majesty's prison. As Mr. Voger said, I'm one of the members who graduated.
You got to come closer to the mic.
Okay, so, we at first before graduation before I get graduated regarding the mechanic and welding, I used to work at the Defense Force camp, doing little welding and mechanic, and then we got the opportunity to take courses where we undergo courses at the AVEC, where the course was about mechanic and welding. And all of us, 4 of us who partake in the course, successfully passed the course and we were graduated. So I'm currently now a certified welder and a certified mechanic.
Congrats. How long was the course for?
Well, it was supposed to last probably about, I think it's 6 weeks, but it lasts more than that because through the COVID, there was some major setbacks. Yeah, so it lasts more than that. It lasts, I think, about 2 years and change. So we had a huge pause.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the course itself was very important because it helped to put our mind in a positive direction, and it also reduced a great much like any negative thoughts and the kind of nature. Yes, yeah. So I'm really proud.
So
of
it was hands-on and it was theoretical and practical.
Yes, both theoretical and practical.
Okay.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah, and so because of the course, I'm now like in a position where I could go anywhere and do certain jobs and so.
Right, because you're certified now.
Yes.
You
And
got
I'm
your
also-
papers.
Yes,
Yes.
and I'm also in a position to teach others as well.
Wow.
Okay, good. So you can
Teach.
even
Wow.
create your employment.
Yeah, especially in the welding.
Yeah, be an
department.
employer.
Because I do more welding. More welding. So especially in the concern. Yes.
So before being incarcerated, you did it, but you didn't have like the certification.
No, not before incarceration. While I was incarcerated, I used to work at the Defense Force.
That's
for
when you,
outdoor
okay,
work.
so that's when you started.
Yeah, we had a little mechanic
Yeah.
and welding. And from there, I went on to course.
How old are you, can I ask?
I'm 45.
Okay.
Don't look it, but
Yeah. What about you? Could you tell us about the course and what you did?
yours might be easier to swing.
Yeah.
Morning to all.
Morning.
Give us a bar, give thanks to Almighty God.
Yes.
And give thanks for having us here as well. My name is Keith Morel. I've been incarcerated since 2013, sometime in November.
Yeah.
Charged for a capital offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. While being there, I've been 2017, I lost my case. I lost the matter where I received life imprisonment.
Wow.
You know, at that time, it's like the future door closes on my face, you know, like I felt like there's no hope, you know. And I had a son at that time too. I have a son who was 2 years old at that time when I was incarcerated, you know. So for me, feeling like the future door closed on my face and all that, I had one big thing I used to do, honestly, to make me feel like, being a part of out there still and feel like there's hope. That was keeping in contact with my family. Yeah, so for me, I used to do that. This is how I end up on the program. I end up on the program, boy, like, I was always having phones, honestly. That's what I used to into. Phones to contact with my family was nothing bad for me. It was about contacting with my son and my family to feel some sort of, you know. Then, you know, the system had problem with me and that, you know. So one day I was called by the chief officer, Mr. Harris, who was the chief at that time. And he said to me, man, I got in a lot of problem with Joe and phone and these things, and so you want to loan something? I say, yeah, but honestly, at that time, for me, it was like, okay, it's a sense of freedom of going out there. Maybe I might go get a phone out there too.
You're obsessed with phones, huh?
Because, like I said, I try to keep in contact with my family. It's like, I feel shut up. That's the only means that make me feel strong. So I used to do that. So then I reached out there and the defense force up the army camp. But then when I reached, I had known absolutely nothing. Not even the slightest idea what mechanical mean. Yeah, so, you know, I had to fit in somewhere. So I started washing down vehicles. That was the easiest thing for me. Washing down the commander vehicle every day, God sent. Sometimes he gone overseas and I washing it down. Man, even know he gone.
You gotta get your mind in it.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
But then what kind of pulled me more to, you know, accumulating the skill and thing. You used to got inmates. Man, he good. Come with the defense force now and again, they pass through. And he'd be laughing at me and say, boy, you're down here telling people you're a big mechanic and you're doing wash down. Well, it's well like a joke, you know? And one day I decided, well, I started to do some serious thinking. And my biggest fear was knowing that a chance will come for me to be a free man again. And I ain't got nothing to teach my son, don't know what I gonna do to get my bread, I don't know. And it built a fear in me because I know, well, if me ain't develop myself, it's a high possibility of me coming back to prison.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we go back to the same life. You know, so I started to think serious. And you got inmate, they had a few inmates that were doing mechanic. One named Welcome, Chase, and Sikani. I start walk along with them guys. And I start learning a little here, a little there. Before you know it, you know, I was doing head jobs, rebuilding engine and all. Yes. But I honestly realized that it's a God-given talent. You know, sometimes we don't know what we're really good at until we put in a position, you know. So I feel like it was God, you know, destiny to help me to find myself in that way. So we had to be peaceful.
How do you feel now about
honestly,
having that skill?
I am proud of myself. Where I sit here right now, I don't like to blow my own hand, but I'm a doctor in mechanic.
Nice.
There is nothing in mechanic I cannot do.
And it took a mental change.
Absolutely.
Which is why, let's get to you because I want to ask you a question.
Okay,
All
but
of
wait,
you.
let's take a break first. 9:32.
Okay.
We have to hear from our 9:30 sponsors.
Okay, then no problem.
For this depot,
Yeah,
rounds.
no problem.
So let's take a quick break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The real gen of them drink Campari. Link up your girl with the Campari. Day or night with your Campari. Mix the pineapple, you can't run party. Campari, respect the bitter. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Quench me thirst, I bust that time now. Watch me a bust and smile now. Ah boy. Freestyle, free bust, a freestyle. Watch me a playing full color meanwhile. One leap of flavor. Every one of them tries. The drink are refreshing and nice. Me tell you say a bust and me buy you with my money. This a everybody drink. I know me one love it. Have it yeah. For the kids, them daddy harmony. Buster, we playing full color. Correct. I am T.
It's 9:33. Island Tea continues. We've got Lincoln David Pell and Virgil Hodge and some inmates from the prisons as they discuss rehabilitation and so on.
Yes. So, yeah, could you tell us about your program and your experience?
Well, good morning to everybody. Alpha Report.
Yeah.
Somewhat similar to that of Mr. Murray.
Mm-hmm.
You know, been in prison from 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I did some primary mechanic before being to prison, so.
Okay.
I already had an idea, but I still had to entreat the opportunity from the authorities to be a part of the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my question to you as everyone we having discussion, and let me ask you, because you guys are in for conviction of murder. And we've had in the Federation an increase in homicides, I want to ask you, like, what was the reason, as much as you could say, what would you think would have been some contributing factors that might have led you along this way, some of the contributing factors in your life that might have led you to where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What made you?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, sometimes because of negative company, being around negative company, it could cause you to really encounter serious predicaments in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is the company then an
yeah,
influence?
and that doesn't mean, and being around company and something happens, that doesn't mean that you are guilty. But just because you associate
Company
yourself with a particular company, your name end up called, and serious consequences can come your way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so negative people play a major role in
Do you think there's anything that we can do in society that could possibly prevent that, help that, or is it still much of the same?
Definitely.
Of course. For example.
Go ahead.
Yeah, of course. I think that, introducing more programs to the prison, allow more prison inmates to go out there and talk to the youths in schools and so forth. That could help a great much.
So you have an opportunity now. What would you say?
I would say to people out there and things is to try to stand the positive part, be around people who goal oriented, people who want to be successful in life positively, of course, and try as much as possible to avoid idle company. Try to learn as much in school, try to learn a skill, because the more you engage in positiveness, the more negative people would be scarce. They don't want to come out. They don't want to hang around you much because you occupy. You ain't got no time. You ain't got time to waste. Yeah. So there's about just the few.
Would you
help? I think would help.
Okay. What about you, Alpha?
Yeah.
Because you said yes right away. So let's hear.
So let's hear.
As the ex-officer was saying, sometimes being reintegrated back into society, they find it hard to give you opportunity, a chance to, really show what you've done and what you've become now.
Well, let me ask you again the question, because he answered it. What would have been some of the contributing factors that would have created. Would you agree with him, or would you have other factors? Yeah.
Well, yeah, for his life, that was his answer for his life.
Yes. What about your life?
For mine, it was more of a self-defense matter.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's
what led me.
Okay. Then.
What about you, Keith?
Well, for me personally, I do feel like the fathers out there need to be more a part of the children them life. You know, I grew up without having a father, mother struggling. So it put me in a position where maybe I got to go out there in the streets, go hustle. You know, and being out there, you know, telling the kind of company I might come across, the kind of thoughts, you know, survival.
Yeah, and you know what hit me is when you spoke about the education, you talk about your child and what would you impart on your child, and you talk about, to me, when hearing you speak, you're talking about now having the skill, you're able to see life differently.
Yes, yes.
And so it makes me think that perhaps persons, if they don't feel a part of society, then they don't want to engage in society as society ought to, the engagement.
Well, let me ask a question, Virgil. What are some of the things that you guys do in the prison as a form of rehabilitation? Because I was asking Mr. Pell, but I know that you are actually on the ground now. So what are some of the things, other than, educational courses, what are some of the other things that you guys do that you would term as rehabilitation for when they come out and they want to integrate into society?
Well, we have a whole bunch of stuff. Hopefully I could name a few. If not, then maybe the guys can help me out. We have agriculture. We have guys who are involved in construction, tailoring. We have baking. We have mentoring. We have music, the RGI band. I'm sure a lot of persons would know about the RGI band. That is actually one of our best guitarists. Yes, so he plays guitar as well. Very good musician. We have lots of, like I said construction already.
What about religion?
Yes.
Is there church?
We have churches coming there. Pastor Connor from the Antioch Baptist Church plays a very big role in the prison. I mean, he comes in every month with his team, and they have sessions, and so we also take prisoners to church. A matter of fact, I just took the females to church last month for the first time ever in history.
For Mother's Day?
It wasn't for Mother's Day. It was for Women. I think it was International Women's Day that time. And that, Pastor Connor keep asking, can we bring the females? Because the females are not allowed to go out based on the rule book.
Yeah.
But we are trying to change that, and also make some amendments in the rule book as well, because the rule book was done years ago, of course, under the English laws, and so we have to change certain things about that where we can, because the ladies always ask me, how come we can't get the same privilege as the guys, and which is only fair.
Right.
And so even with the AVIC program, we're going to start that back up again in September, and we're going to have the guys go up there and do other stuff, whether they're going to be doing AC, they're going to add a lot more stuff to the program where the inmates can, and so we're going to involve the females.
How many
as well.
females do you have?
Right now, we are, I hope I'm not wrong, maybe 6, so they're in and out.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Let me ask a question. For you guys, what would you say has been the most impactful session? What session or what program has impacted you most?
Well, for me, mechanic.
Okay.
You know? Yeah, because at that time I had no skill whatsoever, like I said, and I love mechanic. Honestly, it's like I got joy doing it. I develop a sense of passion for it. You know.
What about you?
Well, for me, welding.
Welding.
Yeah.
What about you, Juport?
Mechanic, music, and basketball.
And basketball, okay then. Yeah. What would you say to persons out there? Because we realize we have an increase this year in the number of homicides. What would you say to persons out there to inspire and encourage them to leave that sort of lifestyle and to, revert to peace? What would you say to them?
Well, for the people who can help themselves, you have people in positions in authority who I think should be there, putting out more time spending more time and looking for the people, looking after the people.
What do you mean by can't help themselves? You mean young boys, young people? What do you?
Yeah, in a way. Sometimes you might need somebody to hold your hand to carry you. Instead
Guidance.
of, because if you got to choose on your own, you're gonna be up and down.
So
mistakes.
You need a guide, someone to guide
Mentor,
you.
okay.
Mentor.
Yeah, as I say, policing shouldn't be just about locking up people. So they say they're doing police in the community or whatsoever. So that's a role the police them for the police, also for the Prime Minister as well. 'Cause people out there, as I say, it's the streets and it's the hustle. If you're hungry, you're gonna do something to get yourself fed.
Okay.
What about you? Any final words that?
Well, for me personally, right, I do think it starts a lot from being in prison.
Yeah.
And the reason why I consider I saw a man come prison as thief, then come back as murderers. So for me, we have a good thing going on, yes, but whatever the general public can offer to us, we're gladly to receive. We need help, honestly. We need support.
And the ones that you think will make it in there, because we're trying to avoid persons getting into prison, what would you tell them?
Well, stay positive. Look on certain other people's situation and use it as an example. You don't have to go through the same thing for you to learn.
Yeah.
Look to people's situation, use it as an example. Educate yourself. Build yourself, because when you do that, you see life on a different level. So stay in school, educate yourself as much as possible. Try to think positive. Before you go down the wrong road, seek questions from other people. That's my thing to whoever out there.
Thank you.
Because prison are nice, hard life, believe me.
I like that. It's not nice. Mr. Pell, your final words?
Well,
I think...
well,
no, you had a turn,
yes.
no?
No, he didn't say anything.
He did.
He did?
Go ahead, Lois.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Well, my message to the youngsters them out there and thing who caught up in gang violence and so, I would just like them to think about their family, their mother, their children, their relatives, and think about how they would feel if one of them got to, God forbid, got to get dropped out. Yeah, take that into deep consideration and try as much as possible to associate themselves with positive people. Yeah, try learn a trade, try do something positive.
Well, I'm so glad you got that in. Positive, nice.
Yeah, that's
Mr. Pell?
Yeah. Pell 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Okay. The scriptures say a man is known by the company he keeps. Keep good company. The same thing with the martial arts. Same thing with the police. If you're in bad company, the police will take everybody when it comes to things. Try to seek employment, positive, as they say, stay active in sports, youth guidance, and so on from other persons, and remember our culture. Our culture is a culture of peace. Be creative, and have good values. Values are very important. And for the children, respect, obey, and honor your parents, which is right in the Lord, that your days may be long on the earth. And from a martial artist point of view, always avoid confrontation. Your biggest victory is not to fight in the first place.
Thank you, Pell.
Awesome. Virgil?
Well, yes, the guys already said enough. I just want to thank you guys for having them here. Know that they are open for anyone. Like I say, I always advertise for them. We have the best mechanic welder, We have also another mechanic here, and we just know that these guys are open to even jobs. If the person have anything that they want to do, you can contact me as well in the prison, and they are willing to do that. And of course, because they are open to collect fees, because they can go to their family members and also help them. So if anybody want any gate build or any car fix, where to reach. I mean, these guys are the best. So just to get that out there as well.
Thank you so much for joining us. I hope our listening audience took note.
Yes.
And thank you guys for being so open and frank with us.
Yeah. Of course, we could have future discussions because I think this is a pertinent issue that is happening in our society.
Yes, definitely. Have a blessed one today, everybody.